like we were born with this light inside of us, and then as you go through life, it just, society and all these experiences dim your light. It's not even about like fixing or changing, it's just rekindling that light inside of us.
In your own life.
Yeah.
Because your life is about you. Whoever's triggering you is like giving you the biggest gift to uncover and go deeper. Go discover parts of yourself that you're filed away and protected.
Thing that I think is super important is connecting to your intuition, because your intuition is you, and only you know what's best for you, because everyone else has an opinion about what you should or should not be doing. And it's not bad to ask other people for advice, but it should only be, filtered through a lens of discernment.
Good morning. Welcome to Reignite with Reet. This is Reet here sitting with Angie Hawkins.
Hello.
And I am so excited today. This woman is exceptionally bold and such a vibrant human in our world. And I think we need to celebrate each other and also share and highlight the work she's doing to help women. Welcome, Angie.
Thank you. I've been so excited about this interview.
I'm excited to have you too. Thank you for coming. Tell me a little bit more about your journey. I'm gonna get comfortable here and here we go.
I don't even know where to begin. I guess.
You know what? I know you speak a lot about burnout.
Yes.
Let's start there, and then because I find if I give you a point, it naturally comes together. Start with your corporate career, where you've been, how, and then take us through that journey. How that has impacted you and provided this opportunity as your gift.
Yeah, so that actually stems in my childhood. I grew up with, and this isn't not to criticize my parents, I'm just telling the story of how it was. My dad he was an alcoholic, he was extremely passive, and my mom was very domineering and critical. Mm-hmm. So from a very young age, it was just kind of like, do as you're told, mm-hmm. Don't question authority, and that's how I thought life was. Mm-hmm. And, society has certain rules that we blindly follow. So the overarching rule is you should go to college and get a corporate job and a well-paying job. So I just blindly followed those rules, and I went to college and I studied finance, and my first job out of college, I worked at a bank, and I thought that was the path to success. So I just, moved up the ranks through different companies and different positions. And I was never happy doing it, mm-hmm. but the paycheck was nice. And I just thought that's how life was. And it wasn't until my last company, I was there for 12 years, and there were signs starting maybe as early as 5 years ago where I wasn't happy. There were some management changes, so the corporate culture had changed. I knew I wasn't happy there, but I didn't really know what the alternatives were. And again, I was just ingrained in that society rules of this is how it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. There's no other alternative for you. And those were also my family rules too, because there are families that have entrepreneurs and encourage that kind of path. But within my family system, the rules were the very structured college, career, and then, society's rules is I just thought that's what I should be doing. But the more I stayed in that environment, the more burned out and miserable I was. And it's a long time ago now. Back in November, I almost said 6 months ago, but November is more than 6 months, right?
Yeah. You're pretty much a little bit over halfway.
Yeah, so in November, I was transferred to this different team, and my manager was super toxic, and she was so mean to me. I was basically being bullied at work, which is something I had never had happen before. And for anyone who's gone through that, they know how horrible it is. But in a way, I'm thankful for that experience, because that was my awakening. This is just not meant for me, and I'm done following society's rules.
So powerful. So you left your corporate career.
Yes.
This past November 2024.
No, so that was the beginning of the end, because I got transferred to the new team in November. I just left my corporate career in May, and I did not give notice.
Oh, whoa. So that's like 2 months. Not even 2 months.
Yeah, so it's been like a month and a half. Remember at Mapu's event, her next chapter?
Yes.
Because that was the beginning of May. And I had plans to quit on May 22nd. And I was so terrified I was going to chicken out. So at that event, I told everyone I'm quitting on May 22nd. And it's so funny because like after I quit, as I started seeing people that I had seen at that event, they were like, did you quit? Did you quit? And so it actually did hold me accountable.
Oh, yeah. The universe, when you put it and you talk it out loud, it's going to come up in your face.
Well, so there's a longer story as to how it unfolded to even like come to that decision where I decided, because at the beginning of the year, I had loosely thought about quitting, but I'm like, no, that's crazy. I would never do that. And what had happened was, because like the universe is hilarious, right? I was surfing one day and there is this girl. She only spends half of her time here and then half of her time in Vienna, her and her husband. And I know her name's Karen, and I know her name, and I would see her in the water. And up until this day, which was 3 months before I quit, we would only say hi, like, hey, how you doing? And then we'd catch our own waves, whatever. So one particular day we were talking, and it was still surface level, but it was more than just the normal hi and bye. We were talking about what we do for work, whatever. And then later on that day, I was thinking, I like her. I would like to get to know her better. The very next day, I saw her surfing. She paddled right up to me, and she was like, hey, would you like to have lunch this week? I would like to get to know you better. And she was leaving to go back to Vienna like that weekend. So I was like, absolutely, I would love to have lunch with you. So we had lunch, and she was asking me about my job, and that was the first time I spoke out loud. I was like, I really want to get laid off because I don't want to be there and I don't have the courage to quit. But that was the first time that I had like put it out there, like I don't want to work there anymore and I want to quit. And like it was just like a snowball effect after that, because the next 3 months the signs were everywhere, and it was like a punch in the face, like this is what you need to do. So as terrifying as it was, I knew it was the right path. But to your point, like once you say it out loud and put it out there, it's basically happening.
Oh yeah. And how uncomfortable are you going to have to get to stop self-abandoning yourself?
Yes.
I find the more we resist, the more it persists.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know in your heart what you have to do for your health, well-being, and life, and loving yourself, and respecting yourself, and respecting your boundaries. And when you continue to deny that, you're going to get that boss that is going to make it absolutely miserable for you. You're going to get coworkers, you're going to get the load.
Yeah.
It's whatever you can imagine, the universe will send it your way.
Yeah.
And it's for you. It's not like the universe is trying to get you. It's for your best interest, because you're not aligned on the path that is the highest for you.
And that's why I saw my manager as a gift. Because I'm like, as much as I hate her right now, like, this is exactly what I needed. So I can't be mad at her, you know?
Yeah, the reframe.
Yeah.
It changes everything. When you can see the duality and say, you've been doing the work.
Yeah.
Of loving yourself, and slowly. And I think it's important to celebrate that we can take our time. And it does take time. It's fears we're unraveling and challenging, that you're not real and I'm going to face you, but I have to go through you. Mm-hmm. I can't bypass, I can't go under, around, and avoid. We can try, but you have to go through that really icky, uncomfortable mess of a feeling that you don't think you're going to make it, and you're scared, but yet here you are. And you look different from when I met you, and we haven't known each other too long, but I think when you meet women that are aligned, it doesn't matter how long you have known each other. Energy speaks for itself.
And a lot of people have told me that. And I even feel like I look different because I've been working with Sam on my social media. And I remember the week before I quit my job, I was filming something for social media. and I recorded it, and then I was playing it back, and the first thing I noticed was like my face. Like I just looked exhausted, burned out, and like that's all I could see in the video. I don't even remember what the video was about. And then the week after I quit, I recorded another video, and the first thing I noticed was like my face was glowing and I didn't look so tired and exhausted and drained.
And you're showing up authentically and raw and putting yourself in challenging situations, and then to do that on social media. And it's something that I can vulnerably say, I can do a podcast all day long and I'm in my element.
Yeah.
Putting on the social media and doing a video, I've been challenging myself, but I have so much room to grow, and I can accept that.
But why do you think that is?
It's challenging the narrative of performance.
Yeah.
I am calibrating at the moment, like in real time, and I'm doing it anyways. It's authenticity and performance. It's my mind and my heart are in this alignment moment of being like conflicted and saying like, no, you can show up gorgeous on social media and still be yourself. You can show up as raw and hair mess and no makeup and still be as real. But it's your energy that will speak. And my energy comes across in my voice. There's a big difference from when I observe, when I self-reflect, right? And we're our own worst critics.
Yeah.
So I find I haven't stepped into it yet fully because I'm still like, oh, and that's really not who I am.
Yeah.
There's a really big human, and in my real life, I'm pretty honest, bold, and blunt, and to the point.
Yes.
And everybody that knows me and loves me, they know that person. And so when I come across social media, it's really vulnerable and it feels scary. And I feel like, as I think we've talked this before, a few people have stated that they're scared or intimidated of me. And that is, it's worrisome to come across that way.
Yeah.
And it's like the resting bitch face. It's not who I intentionally set out to be. I think it comes out as time to time as a protective mechanism.
Same.
However, there's also owning the different versions of ourselves in different seasons. That was somebody that protected me for a long time. And she is still inside of me, and it's becoming amigo with my ego, right? I say this, becoming friends with all your parts and loving them all. And that's the journey we're on.
Yeah.
You can be doing great things, and trust me, I've met and seen some of the most amazing, famous people. They can be a mess off camera.
For sure.
And unraveling, and it's how you approach that. And I approach that, and I've been choosing to approach that with grace and compassion, especially with the women reminding me in my life it's okay.
Yeah.
Sit down with that woman that was maybe protecting you and who is scared that you're going off the rails and you're going to be in danger when you're really not. You're just aligning and stepping into my power, and I don't need her to protect me. But she doesn't know that. And I have to sit and gently have chai with her. Like my inner self, that inner child needs me to have tea with her and tell her, I hear you. I'm not going to abandon you. I'm not disowning you. I don't hate you. Thank you. And I've really noticed a shift in a very quick time when I'm talking like this, and it's happening. It's in real time. I can feel the energetics in my body and my mind. They're becoming more aligned, as opposed they were split, and now they're coming back online together. And I'm not afraid, like, to be all of me, because that's how can we disown parts of ourselves,
Right.
and I think you know that.
But do you think, though, that that's why some people... Because I have the same issue. I feel like people... I'm very polarizing. I feel like people either love me or hate me. And I also find that the people who hate me, they don't even give me the chance to get to know me. They just decide immediately they don't like me. But I think that's part of it because, you know, you reach a certain point in your journey where you're not afraid to express all of you, whether that's good or bad or resting bitch face, whatever. And I think some people are intimidated by that because they're still wearing the masks that are hiding some of those parts of themselves.
Nailed it. I was going to say, can I just kind of poke a little hole in that? When you say they hate me, I really truly believe sometimes when we feel that they hate themselves.
Oh, for sure.
Because you are triggering something in them by being just you.
Like my own manager.
Yeah, not just you. Like you.
Well, and that's just in general, that's what I've learned in life. Because I used to take it very personally when people didn't like me. Or, for instance, like my manager, she was extremely mean to me. And in the beginning, I did take it personally. Because it's like, I'm doing a good job. Why is she being so mean to me? And you just have to understand that some people are just so miserable in their own lives and they take it out on other people.
And it's not about us.
Yeah.
And you are a reflection of the woman that she can't step into.
Yeah.
Or a part of herself that they're secretly admiring you. It comes out as resentment and anger because she can't acknowledge another woman for being beautiful and bold and like being herself.
Yeah.
Celebrating you.
Because she didn't hate me immediately. And also there was like a sudden shift. And I remembered the conversation that made that shift. She was complaining about how much she worked and she never had any time to do anything for herself. And I made the comment, I was like, well, I like to do one thing a day that brings me joy and I like to go surfing, whatever. And that for whatever reason was really triggering for her because she, after that day, she was like not nice to me at all. And I think she was actually jealous that I do one thing a day that brings me joy. But it's like, you have that opportunity as well. You're just not looking for it.
Yeah. She's not creating the time and space for herself.
Yeah.
And it is going to be very triggering. You are in her face showing her no, if it's not necessarily weakness, but something that she would love to do and she's not doing.
Yeah.
And you're literally in her face putting salt in it.
So yeah, the people who hate us, I don't think I don't think
in
most cases, I don't think it's a reflection of us. Yeah.
There's a part of themselves they hate. I think it's a lot more complex, but to wrap it up in that, what I've learned, whoever triggers you, it first feels like I just don't like that person.
Yeah.
I don't like that person. Dig a little deeper. Ask yourself a few wiser questions and saying, where have I felt this feeling before in my life? In your own life.
Yeah.
Because your life is about you. Whoever's triggering you is giving you the biggest gift to uncover and go deeper. Go discover parts of yourself that you're filed away and protected. And now that trigger is opening that little, like, it's even just like turning the doorknob or opening a little cupboard for you to explore. And my daughter triggers me.
Really?
I think motherhood has triggered me. And it's not only me. Like, you talk to moms.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We're given the gift, the child that chooses us, to help us transcend our wounds, our fears, and my control, like, personality of, like, I like it ABC. She's like, well, I like to do it DEZ. She has her own path, and it's taken me 8 years to allow her to do DEZ because I wanted her to do it my way because I thought I knew it better. I'm here to be your parents and I learned I'm here as a guide to guide you how to do it the best way, in a safer, aligned, I don't even say aligned, in a way that's best serving for you, not to mimic and duplicate me. Okay, so you've left the corporate world.
Yes.
What's the next chapter for Angie?
So I started a coaching business for women. I call it Inner Glow Coaching. And basically what that means is women who are struggling with burnout from people pleasing, or basically, because I think as women, or as a society in general, we tend to place our validation in things externally. Yeah. And the truth is that is within us. So it's taking us on that journey from self-doubt and people pleasing, etc., to confidence, and true internal happiness. And I call it inner glow because like we were born with this light inside of us, and then as you go through life, it just, society and all these experiences dim your light. It's not even about like fixing or changing, it's just rekindling that light inside of us.
I want to like kind of bring out, how does one rekindle that light? And like for on a holistic, what does that like wellness in this wellness industry, that $1 billion of industry, like what does that mean for inner glow?
So it's specific to the person, but in general, I think there's several different areas. A huge one is self-abandonment, because again, we're giving ourselves to things externally. So I think two main ways to get that back are boundaries, because boundaries are like the highest form of self-respect, because it's just deciding what you allow in and out of your life. And, you know, not only setting the boundary but enforcing it, which was the hard lesson I learned early on in my boundary journey. But also another thing that I think is super important is connecting to your intuition, because your intuition is you, and only you know what's best for you, because everyone else has an opinion about what you should or should not be doing. And it's not bad to ask other people for advice, but it should only be, filtered through a lens of discernment. So I think intuition is like the highest form of self-trust. So when you have your self-respect and self-trust in order, it's like nothing else can shake that. Like nothing externally can shake that.
I love that. I want to go back to boundaries.
Yes.
Boundaries is something I'm very curious about, because I was questioned right now, and I'm definitely a healthy believer in boundaries. But there's another voice in my head that always questions boundaries. Because sometimes I feel like we can trick ourselves into creating a lot of boundaries, but can they become a wall in a cage?
I think so, yeah.
And how do you help your clients with identifying, being like, or challenging them to be like, how do you create healthy boundaries?
So I think the best way to look at it is if something is unhealthy, like for instance, my former manager at work, like that was something that was obviously unhealthy for my mental health. So I had to create, as much as I could in that situation, create boundaries around that. But in a lot of cases, the thing we're putting a boundary against is just like this arbitrary fear. I shouldn't say arbitrary, because they usually stem from some kind of experience in our past. But I guess the difference would be, is it a real threat or a perceived threat? Because I know what you're saying, because I fall victim to that too. It's like you want to like have the boundary up and not even let something in, but it's because it feels like a perceived threat.
Yeah. And I think I asked this because I do think I'm self-aware, and it's a growth journey. And I've questioned myself when I feel I've got some heart boundaries in place. And I question it because, more inquisitively, because am I trying to avoid facing something challenging and say, and label it, this is my boundary,
Yeah.
because I want to avoid doing the work around that. And it's easier to use the word boundary because it seems a little bit more, the wellness industries where everyone's talking about boundaries now, and it become a buzzword.
Yeah.
And I believe in boundaries. I think it's healthy. I think you're in agreement. We can use it as an enabler crutch to, at times, not to face ourselves. Because you can set a lot of boundaries. I'm cutting all of these people out of my life.
Yeah.
But what if in the next situation, very similar people show up in your life?
And they will.
And they will. Right?
Yes.
Don't you find that?
Absolutely, yeah.
When you know that it's not really a boundary, it's you really kind of self-abandoning again, not dealing with the issue at hand.
Yes.
What is triggering you that you want these people out of your life that you're not looking at? What skill are you not developing or voice not using when you need to stand up for yourself? You can set all the boundaries, but if you keep just changing the environment and never standing up for yourself, You're just doing the same thing in a different day.
Yeah. Which was one of the reasons why I felt like I needed to leave corporate America, because I felt like it was my challenge and self-respect. It's like, how much do you really respect yourself? And I finally had to be like, okay, this is it.
What did you do with your boss? What were the boundaries that you set
Um,
early on?
Early on, it was more time boundaries, because she wanted me to be available all of the time. And I would just be like, well, I take a break during this time and this time, or I'm not available. But, being that it's corporate America, there's still deadlines and whatnot. So I couldn't cut her off completely while I was still employed there.
Yeah.
So it was difficult for sure.
Yeah. I think that's a fine line in the corporate world. Having the deadlines and the expectations that it has to get done.
Yeah, which was another thing I was struggling with, because I actually, the last few months, I was actually trying to get fired, because I had heard rumors that there were layoffs coming. And actually, at certain teams, they were actively laying off people. So I'm like, oh, if I can get myself on this list, then I can just get let go and get all the benefits of getting let go, which would have been the easy way out, right?
But you were meant to choose because you had the choice and control.
And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna slack off a little bit, but my slacking off is still meeting deadlines and all of that. So that aspect didn't work out very well. But it was so much more empowered. In hindsight, yeah, it would have been nice to get unemployment or a severance package or some benefits related to leaving. But it was so empowering to leave on my own that I honestly don't even care.
Because you know what? You would have had a string still attached.
And I thought about that too. I still would have been energetically attached to them.
And I did what you did about 10 years ago. And I worked for this large company. I worked for the owner directly. I was his executive assistant. And I'd asked for a raise the month before, and he had said, it's not in the cards for you. So about shortly after a month, I went and gave my resignation. Scary. But once I gave that notice, I felt so empowered. And he felt, and he knew it, that he offered me a massive raise.
That's when it always happens, yeah.
He offered me a massive raise and promised me, I wanted a different position. He's like, in 6 months, we can transition you into sales. And I took a pause because he cornered me, and he just kind of it dropped it on me. And I was like, it was a Friday. I'm like, give me the weekend to think about it. He's like, think about it. This is a great opportunity for you, Reet. And I think those words woke me up to say, if I accept this offer for the money, I'm going to self-abandon and hate myself in 6 months.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to hate the job. And then I'm going to feel trapped. And it won't be on my terms. And I'll feel like, well, you got everything you asked for. Now what? Took the weekend and I said, no, thank you. The empowerment and I never burned a bridge. I finished till the very last day, showed up, did a great job, have a great reference.
Yeah, because I think that was your lesson in self-respect. And isn't it funny? Because I've learned this too. When you respect yourself, other people respect you more.
They see it. They can't deny it and say, this girl's not going to put up with this.
No, I completely agree in that philosophy, because it's not about being perfect. It's about, when you get knocked down, getting back up. And it doesn't mean you have to get up immediately, but you don't stay there.
No.
Yeah.
You keep making that 1% change, 1% better, one step in front of the other. And it's unknown territory. Nobody knows.
You don't surf, do you?
I want to.
Oh, because I surf, and there's so many analogies between surfing and life, but that is one of them, because I used to get really hard on myself for making mistakes, and now it's immediately as soon as I make a mistake, I was like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
And how can I learn from that so I can correct it for the next time? And that's it's so ingrained that it's I'm not even consciously thinking that. It's just the thought process is happening.
Oh, yeah. A lot of women surfers, I think there's a message there, because I want to learn and I want to go. I'm not a good swimmer, and I've always feared the water for most of my life.
Same.
However, I took swimming lessons when I got on the island, and I'm way more confident and loving the water. And I've been bringing a lot of surfers into my life. And this week I was at another networking event Monday night, and this woman speaking, and she's, giving us some tips, and she's a surfer, and she's standing there, and she's like, I'm not really a public speaker, but you couldn't even tell.
Yeah.
And she's like, but I'm looking at my favorites. We were on top, like, the 36th floor of a high-rise building in Honolulu, and she could see the Waikiki. And she's like, what's grounding me is I'm looking at my surf spot right now. and she used this analogy that surfers, you're on the top. And she said, when life speeds up or when the waves get bigger and faster, she said, I slow down and I go deeper. Underneath, because the water underneath is calm.
Yeah, you dive under the
wave. Dive under, right? You don't fight the waves. You're never gonna win. You don't stay on top, and that's when we're trying to fight the outside world. We think that the answer is outside of us, that if we speed up or if we do more, that we're gonna get where we want to get faster. And it resonated so deeply, it stuck with me this week, and I was like, oh, wow. Slow down and go deeper.
And I think that's what my corporate wound was, because I felt like I always had to achieve to prove myself. And it's like, I just wanted to be me.
This is the work. Coming back and saying, the biggest achievement you can do is love yourself and accept yourself.
Yeah.
And know that you got this. And it's not an easy journey by any means. I don't think.
No, because actually I wrote about that, the ebook that I told you about. Like, that's a chapter in the ebook, and it's only like a page, because it's just like this little free ebook. But I could have written 50 pages on it, and I actually might do a longer version.
Yeah,
because there was like so much that I wanted to write, but I was trying to keep it.
I love
succinct.
that you're offering this to help.
Well, and it's also just because there is a lot I can write, but it's just to get the wheels spinning. Like, you don't need to prove your worth because it's already yours. Your intuition is already there. You just, like, I have some journal prompts to tap into your intuition. So it's just kind of like a Kickstarter, I guess you could say.
Love that. I love that. You know what? I think we have to serve. You have to make a business, but we're here to serve others. And that mentor years ago told me, service is the currency of the universe.
Yeah. And I feel like it's a ripple effect because, well, especially in today's world, I feel like you're either contributing to raising the vibration of the universe or stuck in this fear and anger and all the other stuff that's going on. So yeah, it's like, why not contribute to raising the vibration of the universe?
And the quicker you make a mistake and you bounce back, you say something, our critic is harsh on us, or we were harsh on somebody else, is what I'm realizing. I used to resist and stay in that state long time.
Same.
I'm not going to apologize. It's not my fault. I'm like a huge victim to my own life. And now, like, I'm not ashamed to say I mess up daily. It's not, it may seem like nothing to anybody else, but I know in my values, I spoke to my husband with a little bit of harshness or critical, or I was my daughter, I'm so busy on a screen that I'm not present.
Yeah.
We're all there, and it's okay. Acknowledging and self-aware, that's the first step, but we can't stop at that. It's great to be self-aware, but if you don't change anything after that, nothing gets changed. You're going to just say, well, I'm not, and I was stuck in that paradigm. And, and you saying, and I get that. People tell me you're so self-aware, it's like a superpower. I said, that superpower trapped me.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so self-aware, and my ego was getting fed, but the change on the other end wasn't happening.
Oh, so like you were acknowledging these are the things, and
yes.
You just weren't doing anything about them.
No.
But see, that's also very self-aware.
But you know what? It wasn't, it's steps. I'm not hard on myself about that, because I said to not be self-aware or just abandon that part and then become self-aware. It's not overnight. It's not over a year. It's not over 5 years. It's for the rest of my life. it's easy to go back to bad behaviors.
Oh, for sure.
And habits because it's comfortable, or it's like when you stop going to the gym, your energy shifts. You start being lethargic. You don't have energy. You start eating snacks, and you're not your best self. When you stop practicing the mental gym and that emotional wellness gym, it's same thing happens. You regress, and it is important to be self-aware. Then the next step is important to take the next step to the change that occurs. So, for example, like getting angry at my daughter for her being a kid and making a mess. I have been conscious because I was raised, you're seen, not heard. You
Same.
Keep it clean. You don't get stained clothes. And that has been 8 years now. She's 8 of unprogramming myself. And even yesterday, I'm like, Mila, those are not your play clothes.
Yeah.
And I had to tell my inner voice and being like, they're clothes.
Yeah.
And she's playing in them. They're
So maybe
play
they are
clothes. Because she told me, she's like, Mama, these are old. And I'm trying to raise her in a way to be also aware and being like, old? Like, let's not be entitled.
Yeah.
I think I have this, and I don't want to be higher or like on a pedestal, being like, I want us to value and love ourselves. It's not about being on a pedestal or we're better than anybody else. It's loving and valuing ourselves, and then in return respecting and being grateful for the universe has given us, and not taking it for granted. So I'm teaching her, I'm like, they're not old, they're beautiful clothes. Let's take care of yourself. But on my adult, and she's a child having painting and expressing herself. And I have to constantly check myself and say, they get some stains. She won't care. She's still going to wear them. They won't bother her. So don't let it bother you. That's the small stuff that we don't need to sweat over anymore.
I love that, though. Because I think that's like the inner child in me that loves it, because I was never allowed to make a mess and get stuff on my clothes. So I'm like, I would love to just get paint on my clothes.
We're going to have an event. We're going to get messy.
Oh, yeah, I would love that.
Yeah. Oh, I've been having these
I think that would be very hard for me, though. I don't think I would have fun. I would go, but I wouldn't have fun.
Surprise yourself.
Yeah.
Why don't you
I would go to get out of my comfort zone.
I think so. We need to do things that are hard. And let's not be addicted to the dopamine of having fun.
Yeah.
We get addicted to that every event has to be fun and I need to feel a certain way. What if you just experienced it and allowed yourself to see what happens? And just observed. And then did another thing that was uncomfortable, and without going with an expectation of, I got to feel good and have fun. What if we redefine the definition of fun? And I'm learning this with my partner and life. Doing more doesn't have to be fun. Our dreams and changing our dreams can be fun. And redefining what that dream looks like. And it's funny, it used to be more external, my dreams, and I gotta hit this milestone, make this much income, this many digits in, and now I'm like, nervous system balanced, loving myself, daily small joys, and abundance in all areas of my life, emotionally, mentally, physically, health, and parents in all the buckets, relationships, and abundance has a different definition.
Yeah.
It's not monetary.
But that's just it. I think, like, I'm at a point in my life where I make my own rules. Like, I don't follow society's rules or, like, my old family's rules. It's like, yeah, I define my own rules for how I live, and
you're tapping
that
into,
defines fun. And
you're tapping into the universal law. Like, energy can't be destroyed or created. I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, because it's always there.
It's always there. So the arbitrary laws and rules they're not there. We made them. They're constructs.
Yeah, because, like, who came up with them anyway?
People that want us to be robots.
Yeah. And that was another thing about leaving corporate America. And I know this is probably controversial, but because I never believed in conspiracy theories, but I'm like, I think they're trying to hold us down. Because when you're in corporate America, you're like the robot doing everything for everyone else. And like the week after I quit, I was like out of the matrix. I was like, what are we doing with our lives?
I think it's called our inner awakening. It is when it's not a conspiracy. There's systems in place to keep us small. There's systems in place that the middle class, why is it the middle class so big? And why are we called the middle class?
Yeah.
I believe we're doing the biggest heavy lifting, the work, the healing for our parents and past generations and for the future generations. We're the enlightened class.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, I don't know if we're enlightened. But yeah, you know what I mean? But we're on our way to creating the world that we want to live in and not just for ourselves, for everyone. Or at least that's how I take it.
Yeah, that's how I take it. Because again, everyone who is alive now, we're contributing to raising the vibration of the universe. But then that has a ripple effect for people to come.
Life is here to serve us, and it's our choice every single day if we choose to see that and take part and do that dance of service, and service to ourselves, service to our communities, service to the higher powers that exist. I mean, I can go on off into like it's not woo woo. It's all science based.
No, yeah.
It's all there.
It really is. So I read the book. Have you read it or heard about it? It's called Parallel Universes of Self, I think.
Oh, no.
But it's basically about creating your own reality. And as I was reading it, like he doesn't really specifically say it's science-based, but it is. And I think woo-woo and science are basically saying the same thing in different ways.
If you look at, like, I'm Indian, Ayurvedic is an art and a science. It's been around for over 5,000 years. Chinese medicine, it's like an art and a science. It's been around for like thousands of years as well. And a lot of the stuff in there makes so holistic sense. And it is science. And science is being proven wrong all the time. I challenged my husband because he was very analytical and science-based. And I said, is the earth flat or round? I said, prove it. And show me all the times that in history that science was wrong, or evolution. It's all different theories.
Yeah, and will we ever really know?
No. Oh, it's not no that we won't ever really know. I think the inner knowing is acceptance of knowing within thyself.
That was deep.
I always go sometimes really, not always, but I go deep and I love it. It's that Sag in me. I'm a philosopher, and it's finally owning that, and it's okay. I'm asking the questions. I don't have the answers. I am coming to different conclusions of myself, and then it's like you get to that conclusion as a science project, and then maybe a year later you come back and you hypothesize and you rewrite a new conclusion because you realize, oh, I have more evidence now. I have more experience. I'm a different lens. It's constantly changing. And I read somewhere that like the human brain is only tapped into 3% of its capacity.
Oh, really?
We are not even touching surface. Like what this between the skull is capable of, we tap into like 3 to 5% of the capacity of it.
So how do we tap into the rest?
Becoming aware, challenging, questioning things, and changing our inner, like what we have, the control is that we have a choice.
Yeah.
And we get to change. And I think we tap into it by continuously challenging and changing, and through all of that, just love. You tap into it with love. Because what heals? Love. What creates? Love. Love can even destroy if you wanted to. So, or in the name of love, people say. But really, it's like, it's a deep, deep conversation, and I love it. We're going to take it offline. But I think to come back to, like, the work we're here to do is love. That's the name of my next book.
No, I like that. Because honestly, I think some people just need a hug and some love. You know?
One thing I've realized through my own self-work, yes, sometimes all I need is a hug. And I also realized sometimes some days the heaviness I'm carrying is not mine.
Yes.
I know it's not mine. It's my mother's, my grandmother's. It's ancestral. It's the societal. And there's no easy way to put that down. Yes, you do the habits and the rituals we have in place. And you don't always put it down. You release it slowly. Because I used to get so angry with people when they said, let it go. Just let that shit go. I have that saying in my bathroom. Let that shit go. And I was like, seems easy in concept. But when someone's done you wrong for 15 years, it involves some work to let it go. And it's a journey. It's a process. It's a choice every single day. And you can let it go in one chapter of your life and it creeps back up and you're like, oh my God, I still had some residual that I didn't let go. Or something else that came up that was linked. And it's continuously addressing it, facing yourself, and being curious. Coming at it and approaching it with curiosity.
I think a lot of people who have the just let it go mentality are simply repressing their feelings. I just find it hard to believe that anyone can just let something go. It's maybe possible for some people.
It is by practice, like Buddhism and monks, I believe, yes, but they've sat for thousands of hours and practiced training themselves. And we can, but it's a training that happens.
Yeah.
You don't get up and run a marathon. You can do it. If I'm sure there's people that have done it, but they're injured themselves or it has not. They weren't prepared.
Yeah. The process is definitely not as enjoyable.
No, and there's also something you miss there's something that happens in the training.
Yeah, and that's what I'm learning about life, like enjoying the journey and not trying to get to the final destination.
Yeah. And what does that look like for you in the future? What do you want to create? What are you creating?
Well, many things. I am working on another book. So
now that you mentioned that, I'm sorry, I'm going to pause that because I want you to talk about your first book. Angie's an author.
Yes.
And it's called Running in Slippers.
Yes.
Share a little bit about it.
And basically, it covers a 5-year period of my life, beginning with my boyfriend broke up with me, and then shortly thereafter, my dad passed away. So I was plummeted into profound grief. And this was at a time when I stifled all my feelings and didn't deal with them. So I was forced to deal with them because they just all came to the surface, and no amount of dissociation or anything could really make me avoid them. So I was forced to deal with them. But anyway, it was just a train wreck period because I was looking for healing and love. I was still looking outside of myself. Like, so for example, I moved from Chicago to here in an attempt to make my life better. So the intention was there, but it was still looking for something outside of myself. Like moving to this new location will make my life better. And because I still had the same internal world, I was still experiencing the same external struggles. And it covers, and I don't even know if you know this about me, I attempted suicide 5 years ago. And so it includes that whole struggle. And it includes a little bit of the aftermath, but I'm writing another book that includes more of the aftermath because I want people to see like you can go from rock bottom to thriving. Because I think a lot of, like, for instance, in that state, I just felt so hopeless about the future. And I think a lot of people fall into that where it's like the future is not going to get better. They just don't see anything getting better. And the truth is it does get better. But it starts with changing inside, which is what I had to learn and what my journey over the past 5 years has been. And which is why I went into coaching women to have your inner glow and not be searching for all these external things, because that will lead you to abandoning yourself and all the things which make you miserable.
Oh, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
If you feel safe or comfortable, can you share? Because I know I've been at that, had those thoughts, I never followed through.
Yeah.
Women out there sitting on this edge.
Well, first of all, I think it's a lot more common to have those thoughts than people realize.
Suicidal thoughts.
Yes. Like, and I'm talking like true suicidal thoughts
yeah.
where you start thinking, how would I do this? Because, like, even in the aftermath, like, I don't have any severe suicidal thoughts now, but I'm not going to lie. I've been on hikes where there's a ledge or something, and I will think to myself, oh, if I'm ever suicidal again, this would be a good spot. Like, and I know that sounds dark or weird, but I think those are very common thoughts. And so number one is, like, you're not alone.
No.
People have those thoughts. I don't think it's widely discussed because it's a taboo topic. I think there's a lot of stigma around suicide. Like, for example, a lot of people say it's selfish. But when you're in that state, you're just so consumed. I mean, it would be like if your leg got cut off. You would be so consumed in your physical pain that you're not even thinking about anything else. So it's the same concept of being so consumed in your emotional pain that it's like you're not thinking about, like, oh, what would my mom think or whatever. It's like you're just in that moment. And all I really remember is just the sheer hopelessness, which is probably one of the worst states to be in, because when you see no hope for your future, then it's like, what is the point of continuing?
Are you comfortable talking about what your experience was?
Yeah, so after I moved to Hawaii, because I, like, had these grand dreams, like, things are going to get better. So my dad passed away in 2017, and I struggled for like a year. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to move to Hawaii and then I'll feel better. And so I moved here, and I had 3 pretty big shocks right off the bat. Number one, I was very fortunate because this was in 2018, before remote work was the trendy thing to do. So I was very fortunate that my job in Chicago allowed me to keep my job and move here. However, almost at the exact same time that I moved, there was this huge management shakeup, and a lot of people got laid off, and my position was at huge risk for getting laid off. At least that's how I perceived it because of what was going on. And again, like, remote work was not the trendy thing at that time. There aren't a lot of companies here. There's not a lot of job opportunities here. So for like a year, I lived in constant fear of losing my job, which, like, I'm single, like, my income is, like, that's how I survive. So that was a huge thing when I got here. Another thing was I had a really hard time making friends, because I know you moved here after COVID, but I feel like before COVID, it was just very much the local culture. They weren't welcoming to newcomers. Also, and I think this is still a thing now, people aren't really welcoming to newcomers in the sense that a lot of people are transient. Like, they're either military and they know they're not going to stay here long, or they think they're going to move here and it's going to be paradise, and it's not. So a lot of people don't live here longer than a year. And I get that now because I don't get close to people who, like, just move here, because it's like, you know, because I've had friends move and it's really hard. So it's like,
I have a lot of friends that ask, are you planning on staying? It's a common question.
Yeah, and that's why I asked you that. Isn't that weird? Because I was like,
it's like daily, weekly.
It's like, do I want to get too close to her? Because it hurts when people leave.
Yeah.
So I get that now, but when I just moved here and I couldn't make any friends, it was like, and this was back when I turned things on myself, I was like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I make any friends? And then another thing, when I moved here, I was like so, because I knew to move here, I had to be all in and committed to my decision. So to prove that, I was like, I'm going to buy a condo immediately. And I did, but then a month after I bought it, which was like 2 months after living here, a shared pipe in my building backflowed into my bathroom sink and I wasn't home. So my entire condo flooded, which would have been stressful in any situation, right? But I was new. It was like brand new condo. Like I didn't know anyone. So that was super stressful. And then like there were several other things. Like my grandma died. I finally did make some friends, but then one of them ended up being really toxic. So I had to make the decision to let him go as a friend at a time when I really didn't have any other friends. So I was just struggling with a lot of things. So this leads up to 2020. So this was like just 2.5 years of just constant shit being thrown at me and like not having a break. So then COVID happened, which was super stressful because it was so restrictive and isolated. And again, I had just started making some friends. And then it's like, oh, surprise, now you can't hang out with them. And so I had this idea because all the beaches and parks were closed. So, but the ocean was open. So I had this idea like, oh, I'm going to learn how to surf so that I can be outside legally and enjoy nature. But I didn't know how to surf. But I had taken a lesson the summer before with this guy who technically shouldn't have been able to give me lessons during COVID because his business should have been closed. But I was so confident. I was like, if I just text him, I'm sure he'll give me lessons. And he did. So I started surfing with him. And when we first started surfing, he was married and his wife was from New Zealand. She had moved back to New Zealand when everything started locking down. And the reason he told me, which made sense, he said like healthcare was either free or very cheap in New Zealand. So if she were to get sick, it would be cheaper there, which made sense. But then as we became more friendly, he confided in me that they were separating. They were separated. And when they came back, that they were like moving on. And so then our relationship became more romantic. And so this is during COVID. So we're spending like every day together because there's nothing to do. Neither one of us are really hanging out with anyone else because it's just so restrictive and isolated. So not only am I spending a lot of time with this person, I'm spending a lot of like emotional energy, more so than I ever would outside of a COVID situation. And so after 6 months of that, his wife finally came home. And that's when he revealed to me that they had to be married on paper for 2 more years so that she can get her green card. And that was just, that would have been devastating anyway. Like any of these things in isolation would have been devastating. But the fact that it was just like one after another after another. And finally I felt like things were getting better. And it's like, nope, not this thing either. And I just could not handle it. Like I consider myself a strong person, but it's just like, how much can you take? And at the time I was taking medication for my anxiety. I feel like I always pronounce it wrong. I think it's called clonazepam or something like that. But anyway, it's extremely strong. So I would only take a half pill before I went to bed. And that would knock me out cold for 8 hours. So I had a brand new bottle and it was like 32 entire pills. So I'm like, if I take this whole bottle, like I was like confident that that would do me in. So I took the entire bottle and I ended up being unconscious in my shower for a day and a half. And then I somehow managed to text a friend because I was blacked out. I somehow managed to text a friend and she took me to the hospital and I spent another day and a half in the hospital. And then when I got released from the hospital, I turned on my phone and I had a bunch of texts, and one of my friends, she was concerned because I had been like out of commission for like 3 days. And so she was concerned because I wasn't responding to her text. So I called her when I got home and I told her what happened. And I was like, I can't believe I didn't die. And her response was, it's not your time. And that's when I realized like, okay, I'm here and I have a purpose. And that's actually how I ended up writing my book, because I feel like, because it's really vulnerable. And I feel like we're not talking about the shitty things that happen to us, but we all go through shitty things. So it's like, why not just talk about it? Because I just get really disgruntled with like looking at everyone's curated Instagram and like everything looks so perfect and it's just really not. So
It's not.
yeah,
It's not for anyone.
let's look at the messy parts of life.
And I think my mission is shifting to make sure that we have space to talk about the messy parts, because that's where the light comes in.
Yeah. And that's why I love like your post, because it's like you weren't putting on like, I liked how you didn't even like try to like put on makeup or anything, because like that's how you were feeling that day.
Yeah. And I know in my real life I wear my heart on my sleeve. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. Right or wrong, it's my superpower. It gives me what I need when I'm listening. Stop, slow down. Pay attention to yourself. You're burning out. Why are you feeling this way? Why are you angry? Why are you looking at other women and you know you love them and with love and respect, but you're feeling like you need to be somewhere else?
Yeah.
And we all have those thoughts. Let's talk about it and normalize that that's not real, but those thoughts feel real in the moment.
Yeah.
And let's change the narrative that you're not my competition. You're beautiful in your own right. There's enough space for all of us if we're coaching clients, if we are sharing, because each one of our journeys is unique to our experience. You bring light into this world. And I think you realizing that it's not your time. The universe is stronger and higher than us.
Yeah.
If you want to go and learn that lesson, it's going to teach you. But you have to hit rock bottom in order to be able to push yourself up.
And that's another reason I speak on it, because you know when you're going down that path. Like I knew.
Yeah.
But I just, I was just ingrained to like, this is how life is.
Yep.
Like I just wanted to push through. And so unfortunately I had to get rock bottom to learn my lesson. And because of that, it took me a long time to dig my way out. I'm not going to sugarcoat that.
Oh, no.
But
we're still digging.
Yeah, I know. Like the healing journey never ends.
No.
But to like really get out of it, like I had to, that's when I hired my first coach, because traditional therapy had never worked for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need help and I'm willing to invest in my own mental health.
Yeah.
So, but it took time, but it's like I give my message, because first of all, I don't want anyone else to hit rock bottom. But if you get to that point, then it's harder to get back out. So stop it before it gets to that point.
Yeah. And also, if you do get to that point, there's still light and hope.
Absolutely.
Always.
I mean, I'm here. Yeah.
Reach out, ask for help. Just
because
allow...
again, like these are like normal things that people go through.
Yeah.
Like my book, there were things that were so embarrassing for me to write, and you wouldn't believe how many people
relate to that.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this happened to me too. Like actually there's this one situation. I have a friend, she's going through a divorce, and the situation in the book with the surf instructor, like even after he told me like he had to stay married, I kept like going back around because I was like so ingrained in it, which like added to my downfall. But anyway, that was so embarrassing for me to write, because in my book you have like, I hadn't learned my lesson basically.
Yeah.
And so it was so embarrassing, because it's like, here I go again. But my friend mentioned to me just recently, she's like, oh, that was so relatable, because that's what I'm doing now.
We mirror each other, and people that are coming into our lives, it's going to show you where you're, again, coming to self-abandoning, not loving yourself.
Yeah.
And, it's scary to hit rock bottom. I remember shortly before I was turning 40, I walked into an emergency room in Canada and said can you check me in, please? I've got a 2-year-old at home. I think I'm crazy. Because that was the next step, taking my own life. And it was my ask for help. Called my husband on the way to the hospital and saying, pick up our daughter at the airport. I am going to check myself into the mental facility at this hospital. He's like, no. I'm on my way. I said, take care of our daughter. I need to do this. And it was literally 2019. So it goes to show you the highlight reel can be very deceiving.
Yeah.
And you can even have all your dreams come true. But if you're not loving and doing the work to help heal those dark wounds, you can have everything in the world and feel empty.
Yes.
And alone and dark with yourself. But you have to believe in that you're here for something. You're meant for something in this world. And that's what helped me ask for that help. Even though it felt I didn't get the help right there.
Yeah.
They sent me antipsychotic and sent me home.
Yeah, not at the hospital. Unfortunately.
It opened the door for another program. There's a ripple effect that happened.
You knew you needed help.
Yes.
Yeah. Just like I stayed at the hospital after my attempt. That didn't help me, but I got the help that I needed afterwards. Yeah.
It gets you to ask for the help.
Yeah.
And thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, because that is important to share.
No, I
We
agree.
are not here to share our highlight reels only and the perfect versions of ourselves. That's not what my Reignite with Reet podcast space is about. It's about real conversations with real women, real journeys, real downfalls, real rock bottoms, and then lifting ourselves up, crawling if we have to in the beginning, asking for help if it's so painful, doing that inner healing and continuing and knowing that it's not going to stop. We are going to continue living this beautiful life, but we still have to continue doing the work.
But it gets easier. Like, so for example, I don't abandon myself anymore, and life is so much easier that way. I was like, oh.
And if you do, you recognize quicker.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I shouldn't say I never do, because I still catch myself, but that's just it. I have the self-awareness now, and I catch myself and realize that I deserve better. So
thank you so much, Angie, for coming on, sharing this beautiful journey you've been on. Even the darkest of moments, to me, are the ones that are so beautiful, into knowing what you went through and you chose to turn the page and write a new chapter. And I want to honor and celebrate your life and the woman you are and the work that you're doing and the bold and brave and courageous moves of leaving the corporate world on your own as a woman, you know, a single woman. It is scary, but you're very powerful. You know that already.
Yeah.
You already know
I didn't
that.
used to know that, though.
No, we don't. We were made to believe and conditioned, and that's where the conspiracy theories are true. We are. It's in the patriarchal world.
No, I believe in all of that now.
To keep us small as women.
Yeah.
I've said it before. We are the creators of the world. When we stop creating as women, the world will become extinct. And that's what's happened. And many things have become extinct. And now the feminine is rising. We are rising because it has to be balanced. But it's going to be painful.
Yeah.
And that's okay. We go through labor. We go through so much birth and death in our life. We can handle it. It's with love.
Yes.
If our viewers want to find you, they want a woman that you're going to speak to. I know you're going to speak to a woman and they're going to need your coaching program. They're going to need to read your book. Where do they find you?
They can find me. My Instagram is Angie Hawkins 808, and my website is runninginslippers.com. And that has information about my coaching program, which is called Shine from the Inside, and my book, Running in Slippers.
Thank you for coming on and sharing so much. This conversation I just love, and I know it's just the beginning.
Yes.
Of a beautiful friendship, and so much more collaborations, and just know I'm here to lift her up. I don't want to pull her down. She's not my competition. and I feel it's reciprocated.
For sure. Because when I was insecure, I used to be the woman who was jealous of like strong, powerful women. But now I get it. It was because I was insecure. Yeah. And when you have your internal happiness and validation, like you want to meet and collaborate with powerful women.
And we've had those moments, all of us, where we think the other woman has something we don't. And we just got to challenge and be curious about that narrative and go inward.
Yeah.
And it's okay to get help and be honest, because we got to be honest with ourselves and our friends and community. And so thank you again for coming on. I am so grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you too.
All our details will be in the show notes, and you will be able to find Angie Hawkins there. Thank you.
Thank you.